Well, hello viewers. I'm trusting that you are well. My name is Simon Rungu. This is the big question here at Professor Herman Manyora's YouTube channel under the Nairobi Review. I am doing well. Prof, how are you doing? Are you well?
Also doing well.
Well,
I'm doing well.
Things are looking good from our end. Do you know who things are not looking good for? The four IEBC commissioners. Now, 4 petitions have been tabled against these 4 commissioners. That is Juliana Cherera, Irene Maset, Justus Nyanganya, Francis Wandire. Now, these petitions are for conducting these are petitions that people are claiming that they were subverting the will of people from the August 9th general election when they walked out of the Bomas of Kenya before the presidential elections were announced. Prof, now people are wondering, is this the best time to go after these people, or should people actually go after these people after the decision that they made?
It's very difficult for me to understand, because if I listen to the Supreme Court well, Chebukati was also told you didn't have the power that you purport to have.
Okay.
You must have worked with these people. So if these people walked out because Chebukati was doing that which the Supreme Court seems to affirm we should not have done,
okay, how
would you attack them?
Okay. Now their career is in line, Prof. Now people are wondering, is our democracy
in line? It's just politics.
People are asking, is our democracy in line? Because
it is
now their career is in line because of a decision that they made.
There is absolutely no problem.
Okay.
It can go the way it's going. They can go, they can remain. But what is certain is one. None of these people will have their day or their way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now they are...
The people of this country are surely going to reorganize the electoral body. Whether that body will be called IBC or it will have another name, this country will have, at some point in the near future, have to reorganize its electoral system that will include a new electoral body in terms of membership, in terms of function, in terms of how the members are selected, and so on and so forth. That is going to come. So this is just like child's play. Let children play around with toy around with that.
Okay. Now let's go.
But the big thing is coming. The big thing is that there are going to be institutional reforms in this country, whether anybody likes it or not.
Should we start with the IBC?
IBC will just go out of it. IBC, including many other institutions, including even the Supreme Court, there will be changes.
Okay.
Because we've been trying to advance our democracy and our governance, and we are seeing their challenges. And some of the challenges are coming from some of these institutions not actually being the way we had conceived them at the time we were crafting the Constitution.
Okay.
So IBC is one of those things that will have to face changes. Certainly, without doubt. So,
and Prof, I'd like to know, where do you stand? Are you with the people who are saying that these people need to go home, or are you with the people who say that they need to stay at the...
I find no purpose in them going home, because finally IBC, we cannot go to another election with this kind of arrangement. I doubt. It's not in the interest of anybody. Yeah. Not in the interest of the country, not in the interest of the opposition or of government, no. This country has to deal with the issue of elections in a comprehensive manner, because we are playing with fire. We're just toying with fire, which is not good for the country.
Okay.
So whether they go now or not, to me, is not an issue.
Okay.
Because ultimately, we will not go to another election before these reforms I'm talking about. Yeah.
We have seen in previous elections of other countries, serious actions or dangerous moves taking place after just mere decisions from just a few people maybe involved in the election. The decision that these 4 people made, that to walk out of the Bomas of Kenya, Prof, do you think it was a dangerous move?
Yeah,
it needs to be revisited.
Things like those are not good. They can plunge the country into chaos. And that's why I keep telling Kenyans, also when you must select people, be careful who you put in place. There could be a better way of playing that game than it was played. You were just playing with fire, I'm telling you, just playing with fire. Because it stopped where it stopped. It could have gone further than that. Countries have gone down because 2 sides claim victory. You see? 2 sides claim victory. And then the country just begins going to disintegrate. which is not good.
And do you think the decision that they were making was one-sided? That they were promoting a particular candidate, perhaps maybe to push for a runoff?
Of course, when you look at it, they seem to have been playing on behalf of one side. And equally, even the other side,
Okay,
even
now,
those who
Prof,
remain.
Okay, let me stop you there. You've said that the cards they were playing,
Yes.
they were in favor of one side. Then, doesn't that go against what you're saying, that they need to retain their job? And we see that you're saying that the cards they were playing, they were
I've not
favoring
said they
one
need to
side.
retain their job, have I said? I've said whether they retain or not, to me, is immaterial.
Okay.
Because even if they retained, they are not the ones who will preside over the elections in 2027. It is not possible.
But then clearly, if they were one-sided, they need to go home. Do you agree?
I'm saying even the other three were in favor of the other side.
Okay.
So, of course, these others are going because of the end of their term. But even if their term was not ending and they were not going, including even the people going to replace them, they will not oversee the next election. The way I look at things.
Then is that
This election will be presided over by an entirely new IEBC. It may not even be called IEBC. It could just have another name. Yeah.
And I guess that's why you're saying that we need to revisit our institutions.
Yes. Because this, you know, I asked Kenya, do you know why we came up with the Supreme Court? Why we came up with the independent electoral body?
Okay.
Why we came up with the new outfit, the police? Because we realized in 2007, we are almost going under. The country was burning. And we realized the best way to do is to come up with institutions that can put down the tempers. When you are so aggrieved, instead of going to the streets, you go to the Supreme Court. When you are actually feeling so bad and you can do something bad, you can trust the police, and so on and so forth. And you can trust an election will produce the results, because we have moved away from a government-controlled electoral body to an electoral body that is independent and neutral. That is the history. That's the genesis. That's why we put up this thing. But after testing them, I'm not so sure that they are living up to that expectation. And therefore, there's need to relook. And this relooking at these institutions is critical for the survival of this country. Yes.
And were they expecting such a move from the Kenya Kwanza team after the decision that they made?
I think everybody knew they will be dealt with. And you see people are being dealt with. There's a lot of revisiting. So, but it doesn't surprise anybody. But the important thing is, even if they remain, including the new commissioners who are going to replace Chebukati, they will not oversee the next election. Anybody thinking they will oversee the next election must be very naive. And it will not be good for this country. That is from me, and I could be wrong. And those who want them to oversee should wish I'm wrong.
There is also a group of people who are saying that the whole of the IEBC team that has overseen a previous election should go home because they've been part of irregularities in this.
What elections. I'm saying is this: there is need for comprehensive review of the whole electoral system in this country, because elections can bring a country down.
That's true.
We saw it in 2007. Then after 2007, we gave ourselves these institutions to ensure we don't go on the highway. We go to the Supreme Court. We trust the police. We trust IEBC. But I'm saying after 3 elections, many Kenyans are not so sure that these institutions can be trusted to do what we put them to do, up to do. And there will be need to review and to look afresh at these institutions and see what we need to do to make them better. Some we may need to remove, we may need to revamp, we may need to refocus, and etc. But we will have to look at the IBC, look at the Supreme Court, look at police, look at many of these institutions we gave ourselves and ask ourselves, do we need all of them? In the form in which they are? Do we need to recalibrate some of them? And so on and so forth.
Now, Azimio members of parliament sitting on the minority side have termed the petition as opaque, meant to punish the 4 candidates who differ with the chairperson of the IEBC. Now, Prof, the term punish. Now, why do we Kenyans tend to punish people maybe who are against you?
Our democracy is still young. People are still learning the ropes. We think punishing people, we think revenge has place. In human nature, those of us who have read a bit, we know that if you look at history, those people who set out to punish others on revenge missions ended up suffering more than the people they were chasing. If you look at literature and the tragedies and all those kind of things, including Greek mythology, it never paid to go after people. It never pays. In real life, it never pays. I'm telling you, it never ever pays. So, but we are still, it's just like children. You know, children work like that, including reporting your sibling to your father, to your mother, you know. So even the politicians are still behaving like children. They think because people are against Ruto, they will go for them. It's because they are still junior in their thinking. So you can't blame them.
People are
because
not
of juvenile.
People are actually going after them.
Juvenile. So go after people who are not against, because everybody can't be on your side. Then there was no election. An election is a contest. There will be people on your side, there will be people on the other side. And the people on either side will say all manner of things. The things they say are defined by the politics of the time. If you look at 1960s, what people are saying in politics about their opponents is not what people are saying. I was doing some study on tribalism. If you look at the sentiments between Kadu and Kanu, people are telling people to go to rallies with all manner of weapons. People are saying, this is Maasai land. If people come here to tell you this, chapa on your Roshao. You can't say that now, can you? You'll be jailed. You'll go to jail. But still, there are things that Uhuru and Raila told each other in 2017 that were not even possible in this election of 2022. So whatever people say is defined by the politics of the time. And the people like Rigathi Gachagua and the rest and those who are going for these commissioners will do well to know, leave politics behind, elections behind. Let's move forward as a country, because there is no way a person who wins can govern successfully without being accepted by the country. The issue of what is called legitimacy. You need legitimacy. That's what set Uhuru on a path of looking for Raila, whoever looked for the other. But the handshake happened because hanging on the head of Uhuru was the issue of legitimacy. So these are some of the things that then erode that chapter of reconciliation, because you must embark on a chapter of bringing the country together. So small foolish things like this compromise that path, the attempt to bring the country together. So if you are a man in charge, you tell these small boys and girls, please go home, find something, find something useful to do. Things like this. But revenge is a childish game. It's juvenile. And some politicians are juvenile. It happened during the Kenyatta time.
You call it revenge, some call it punishment, Prof.
Punishment and revenge are the same. They're foolish things. They never help anybody.
Isn't this going to affect how people make decisions?
Punishment, the only punishment we know is one meted by the courts. Yeah.
Doesn't this mean then people are going to make decision in favor of the side that has power?
That's not the way the country should go.
But is that how we are doing?
That's how we are doing, and I'm calling it juvenile politics. We must move away from such a juvenile politics. Once you have won an election, you are the president, you are the president for all people. Don't listen to juvenile people who want to show you how loyal they are, overzealous fellows who want to go after your small enemies, imagined and real enemies. They are never even enemies in an election. No, never. Everybody thinks their candidate will win. They talk loud maybe because they will benefit. The other side thinks their candidate will win. But they are the same people. In any case, do you think there's anything between Raila and Ruto? Which is the difference? These are the same people. They are friends.
So they are
Ruto and Uhuru. Is there anything that's bad against between them? Nothing. They are still good friends. They are friends. Because politics is just that. But you see, unfortunately, if you are in power like a president, small people under you, juvenile in outlook, overzealous, may try to show how loyal they are by going for small enemies around there. Manyora alikuwa anaongea hivi, you go for him. So this is in that. So this person thinks is very. The people doing this, they think they will win in favor of Ruto and the rest. It's useless. If I'm Ruto, I'll tell you, please find something useful to do.
Do you agree with the few number of people who say that the 4 commissioners were sacrificed
by
the Azimio team?
Politics works like that. Whenever you support somebody in politics, you know when the time to sacrifice you comes, he will sacrifice because it's politics. Nobody has put it better than Orengo, James Orengo, senator now governor. What has he said? Yeah? Systems eat their own children. Revolutions eat their own children. Systems will always sacrifice people. It's part of politics. Today you support Raila, tomorrow he could sacrifice you. Today you support Ruto, tomorrow he could sacrifice you. And it's not anything wrong. It's just that politics is a game where there's always forward movement. And if you are the one clogging the movement, you just tossed out and the engine continues. So it's not even sacrifice. It's just a normal development.
It's how things
that if Azimio is moving, Kenya Kwanza, UDA are moving, and you are bringing some small little inconvenience, they just toss you in the sea and the engine and the vehicle continues. That's politics.
Well, let's wrap up the conversation at that. Well, things are not looking good for the 4 commissioners, but let's wait and see how things are going to play out as time goes by. Keep it here at Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. This is The Big Question. Enjoy the rest of your day.